So what we have here is a bunch of equations again back. It's been a couple days since we've seen equations. If I give you an equation, you're always looking to do the opposite of whatever the variable's doing. You're always looking to do the same thing to both sides. I did all one-step opposites on this paper. So let's practice one together, and then we'll give each person maybe like a problem to try and see how it goes. So if we go to take on number 1, and we're trying to do the opposite, what is it that we would need to do on number 1? Add 3.4. So where would be one place that you would write an adding 3.4?
On the bottom of 6.7.
Right under the 6.7, you'd write add 3.4. Where's another place I'd have you write the add 3.4? Right under the 3.4. What would you be able to do to those 3.4s? What do we usually do when we see a minus 3 point? Yeah, cross it out. We'd look to just cross that out, and then the variable would be all alone. And over on the right, you just need to do an adding problem. 6.7 could add 3.4. And then just remember your adding rules, remember your positive, negative rules, some of the stuff we've been doing the last couple of days. Add that up. Anybody have a thought on number 1?
10.1.
It would be 10.1. Question about what's going on for 1? Let's give everybody a problem and just see how it goes. So why don't we go U for 3, go 5, go 7. I'm just going to pick through the odd ones. Go 9, go 11, go 13, 15 for you, 17, 19, and then 21 would be our last one. Why don't we cut the record for a second if you can. Okay, so we'll cut through these odds after a little bit of wait time and see if we need any guidance. Do you have any thought on 3?
0.72.
Something funny happened there. What did you try to do with that one?
Add.
You want to add, okay, and then I think what happened is you subtracted by accident that 5.3 with that 4.58. You do want to add 4.58. That's a good move. Rework that. I'll get right back with you on 3. 5, you've thought?
Negative 5.3.
It is negative 5.3. Number 5 is negative 5.3. If anybody tried that one and didn't have success, we'd want to subtract 3.98. So we have to think about subtracting rules. That's a negative minus a positive. So we get a bigger negative. That ends up at negative 5.3. Yeah.
9.88.
Yeah, 3 is 9.88. That's a win. 7, a thought?
14.48.
It is. If anybody tried 7 and got stuck, you'd want to add 4.5 to do the opposite. And if you do that correctly, you'd get 14.48. 9?
1.58.
It is 1.58. If anybody struggled with that one, you'd want to add 3.4. But then you're adding a negative and a positive, because the original number I typed was a negative, and now you're adding a positive. So that depended on who was bigger, he subtracted, and he hit that one. 11, we start to divide. Give a shot at 11. It is 31. 31 on the dot. Did anybody try any odds on the front and have trouble with any of those ones that we've got out
9.
public now? 9.
Wait, what's the answer?
1.58 positive.
Wait, so like, I put 3.40.
We'd want to
under
add
1.
3.40.
Yeah, like add in and...
So then the add rule makes us subtract, because you're adding a negative number with a positive number. So if we go to subtract those, now we're into a lesson from maybe like 2-3 days ago. If we're going to subtract, you have to stack the bigger number on the top. So we'd stack the 3.40 on top of the 1.82 to subtract it. Does that make sense?
I'm just finishing this up.
Anybody else on the front while he's working? Side conversation, and I'll come back.
Wait, is it 1.58?
Uh-huh. Anybody on the front? Anything that was trouble? 13's another divide. No, not the 13. Were you, when you divided, did you have the 0.012 out here? Okay. That's the number we want out there. We want to go 0.012 out of the box, the 0.24 in the box. Redivide. Let me get back with you in a second. 15?
0.20.
Okay, got the right idea with having that 2 in there, but you got the decimal in the wrong space. I'm thinking you did the .03 out here. Did you have the .03?
Yeah.
Okay, so did you slide that decimal over twice?
No.
Okay, that's where it went wrong then. We want to slide that decimal over twice because we need a whole number out there. And then in the 60, I didn't write a decimal on the 60. Do you remember where it is?
No.
Okay, it's on the very far right. So the 60 is like a 60 point. You're going to have to slide that over twice. So we have .03, we have a 60. We're going to bounce that twice. We're going to bounce that twice. So 3 into 6, I like the 2 that you said there. But then what do we need to do in those 3 slots? Zero. So it's going to be 15 2000. Yeah. Okay, 20's getting real close. Now we have to think about our negative positive rules. So since the one number was negative and the other number is positive, how does that go when we divide? Negative. It's going to be negative 20 on 13. 17, a thought?
4.5.
Something funny happened there. Did you multiply? Yeah. Okay, try to remultiply and see where that goes. 19?
I think 2.6.
Something funny happened there. I think you added. You don't want to add. What is it that you want to do on 19?
Didn't you add 2.4?
No, what's the 2.4 doing?
Subtracting?
No. It's dividing. See the slash?
Oh, yeah.
So since that's dividing, you've got to
Well,
multiply. Multiply, let me get back with you. 21?
Negative 1.49.
I think you misapplied one of the rules. Did you add .54?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the correct opposite. If you add .54, that's right. So we have to think about the add rules. You're adding a positive .54 with a negative .95. So what's the add rule when they're different? Okay? Did anybody get to 23? Why don't somebody get me 23 while we wait? Somebody else get me 25 while we wait.
Is 1733.
Okay, that's getting close. Now we need to place the decimal in there. When you multiply, it'll be 1330. Then you want to put the decimal in by using your count. Then drop that 0. So how much of a decimal count? Well, we'll go to somebody else, I'll come back. But you want to count everything in the decimal. Q.
it's 19.68.
Okay, that's getting close. Then think about your sign. What's the rule when they're different, multiplying and dividing? Negative. So 19 is negative 19.68. Yeah.
Is 17 1.33.
17 is 1.33.
Is 25 1.36?
25 is 1.36.
21 negative 0.4.
21 is negative 0.41. And then somebody get me 23 and we've got them all. Does anybody need any help while somebody's getting me 23?
Negative 0.025.
No, you divided it backwards, I think. You want to do the 8 number out of the box and the 32 number in the box.
For 23, I got negative 40.
It is negative 40 on 23. That is the truth. Yeah.
What's 25?
25 is 1.36.
Okay.
You're welcome. Anybody need any help on any of the odd problems? Any kind of questions on that? Then I want to switch sheets and do something else. So this sheet also still has equations on it, but instead of decimals, what do you expect to see potentially?
Fractions?
Good call. Yeah, there's some fractions on this one. So let's do about the same kind of thing. So let me do number 1. We'll do number 1 together, and then we'll take some wait time and work through things with people. This first one's a trickier one. So anybody on this one have a thought? Should you add or should you subtract?
I don't have patience for that, but I think we only got 2.
Okay. Did I short you one? For problem 1, when we go to do the opposite on number 1, what opposite should I do?
Subtract.
Subtract who?
The negative one over 3.
Correct. Okay, so one thing you could do is say we should subtract a negative 1/3. So if the problem's adding, so you want to do the opposite, we're thinking subtract. What's going to happen if we subtract a negative 1/3? What subtract rule is that if you subtract negative 1/3?
It'll be a plus.
Minus minus makes plus. So if you had instead said add a positive third, I would agree with you. There's actually like 2 ways that your mind could be thinking through this problem. Some students might think I should subtract a negative. Other students might just think I should just add a positive. Our goal is to cross that out. Our goal is to get the variable alone. So whether you're thinking about subtracting a negative or whether you're just thinking about adding, it's the same thing. Over here I need to add a third. What's the adding rule I should do when I'm adding things that are different?
This is bigger.
Depends on who's bigger, so is the negative or positive bigger?
Negative.
Negative is bigger, and then I need to
Subtract.
subtract. If I subtract those, it would be a negative 1/3. We're doing the same kind of stuff with our opposites as we've been doing. It's just a bunch of fraction problems on this version of the paper. Question about the idea of what we're trying to do? Okay, let's give everybody a problem. We'll stop the record. We'll give a little bit of wait time. 3, a thought?
1/2, negative 1/2.
Let's see. There's a mistake somewhere. Let's track it. So, did you add or subtract to get started?
Subtract.
Subtract is right. So when you subtract 3/4, then I think the mistake you made is with the subtract rule. So let's get anybody in the room help out with this one. 3, we want to subtract 3/4. Can anybody let us know what subtract rule are we going to do there with that stuff that's on the right if we're subtracting?
Is bigger?
No, it's not to depend on any bigger one. Anybody thought on 3 subtract rule? No, it's no minus minus make plus.
It's negative plus negative.
It's a subtract rule.
Negative minus plus is bigger than
A negative minus a positive is a bigger negative is where we want to go there. So you want to have a negative answer and then you want to add those fractions together.
Negative 1.
It is negative 1, that's true. 5?
5, I got 1 1/3.
It is 1 1/3. So we'd want to add 5/6 on number 5 and that'll take us to 1 1/3. 7?
negative 5/6.
Let's track a mistake down. So did you add or subtract to start? Add is right. Now we have to do an add rule. A half is negative, a third is positive. So what's the add rule when they're different? Yeah, and you subtract. So rework that, and I'll get that in a sec. Not?
3 and a 6.
I think you maybe forgot to change something. Did you add 1 1/3? Were you adding 1
I just
1/3?
added 1.
Okay, yeah. It's a slight upgrade on that one. 11, I thought.
1 and 11 plus.
I like the 11/12s, but not the 1. Were you adding 1 1/4? Okay. Do you understand why we want to add 1 1/4? Okay, so do the opposite. Add 1 1/4 to 2 2/3, and you'll have something similar to what you said. 13? Something funny happened there. What did you do to approach 13? Okay, we're going to want to subtract with the 4 3/8. In the original problem, we have a minus minus. So in that original setup, you'd want to make a plus, and then do the opposite. We'd want to subtract 4 3/8. 15?
-5/2.
Something went off there. What did you do to start? Did you add or subtract?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, you want to subtract. Since the variable is adding 5.5, you want to subtract 5.5.
Oh, I put that on the list.
Okay, so you were subtracting 5.5? Okay, then we'd want to make a common denominator.
Oh, I didn't do that.
Okay, then I'll get back in a sec on there. 17? Something funny there. What did you do with that one? Okay, we don't want to add. What is a half doing? It's multiplying. So you want to divide, and since you're dividing a fraction, what are you going to have to do to that fraction? Flip it. So on number 17, we'd want to get that a half flipped. Leave 2/3 how it is, but flip the half when you go to divide. 19?
-5/18.
It is -5/18. That's true. 21? Something funny happened there. What did you do to get started?
I made it 6.
No, I think you did the wrong opposite. So what's the fraction doing to the letter when it's next to it like that? When a number's next to a variable, it's trying to... So you're going to have to divide, because you're always doing the opposite. And if you're going to divide a fraction, what happens to the fraction? What's our fraction life make us do? When we divide fractions, how do we do it? You know that, it's in there. Like add fractions is common denominator, divide fractions is...
I don't know why.
Okay, he's blanking. Did somebody help out? We all draw a blank sometimes, it's okay. How do we divide fractions?
Flip the second
We flip the second fraction. Dividing makes us flip the second fraction. You good on that? It's back in your brain? You're good? Okay, so what you're going to have to do on 21, flip the 3/4, leave 5/8 how it is. That's how we're going to work that one out. Let's do another run back through, get some stuff from people, yeah? It is on 11, 3 and 11/12. And why don't I just blast through these? In the interest of time, we'll tune up the answers instead of just picking out the people who it was. So 1 was -1/3. 3 we knew was -1. 5 should be 1 1/3. 7 we're hoping for -1/6. Does anybody need help on anything on 1 to 7?
Can you do 7?
7. I would add a third. So if I'm adding a third, I'm thinking add rules. The half was negative, the third is positive.
Depends on who's
So when they're
bigger.
different, it depends on who's
So you
bigger,
subtract.
and we'll subtract. To know who's bigger, we'll need our common denominators first.
Oh,
So,
I see. Okay, I see.
you good?
Yeah, I see.
All right.
Thank you.
Does anybody need me to keep talking about 7? 9, we're hoping for 4 and a 6. 11 was 3 and 11/12. 13's -1 5/8. 15's -1 1/8. I can help people if you see any there that you're worried about trying to take them on. Does anybody need help with any of those? 17, we're hoping for -1 1/3. 19 was -5/18. 21 was 5/6. And then I don't know if anybody had time to even get into the 20s. Did anybody have time to get up and try anything in the 20s you want to run?
For 23, I got 8 1/3.
23, it's not. Did you change 3 1/3 to 10/3?
Yes.
Did you change 1 1/5 to 6/5?
Yeah, but
We're going to flip the 10/3. The one with the variable, that's the
Oh.
one you want to divide. That's the one that'll flip.
I flipped 6/5.
Yeah, important thing on this, and not everybody's had a chance to try one of these. If it's a problem where I wrote a number next to a variable, you're going to have to divide. And that means the number next to the variable, that's the fraction that we're going to want to flip. The variable's fraction will always be the one that flips.
Is it 9/25?
It is 9/25, yes. Did anybody get time to get to the back page at all? Anything in the 20s?
I have one more question.
Okay,
So
one more question. Yeah, go.
for 16, so I would do that too, but I flip 1/4.
Yes. Yeah, on 16, the 1/4 would be the fraction that flipped.
Oh. And do you know what the answer for that was?
We didn't do any of the even ones.
I mean, like we didn't do 16.
No, we did. We were doing all the hard ones.
Oh.
question, back page? Anybody, anything on this that concerns you? The assignment is gonna be take these two papers we just did and do the evens. Like, we did the odds as a group, so skip all the odds. We're gonna try to take on the evens. If you have any, you're not sure how to take them on, I can keep talking to you, but the scheme is do the opposite, do the same to both sides, just try to remember all your rules. That's like the main name of this game. This is the last like new thing that we'll do together this year for 2023. Tomorrow's game plan would just be talk about this and see if we can try to improve what we're doing. Then for Monday, you have a worksheet due Monday that's been getting ready for the final that you've had in your possession since like before the Memorial Day weekend, I think. So there's a Monday packet due. Tuesday we'll take a test that's like the Monday packet. Wednesday there's another packet that's due that some people have. If people finish the first one, then I was giving out the second one. So anytime you're done with the first one, I'll give you the second one. But the second one's due Wednesday and we'll take our last test on Thursday. That's what we're left with for the year. Anybody question about schedule? Anybody a question about what we just did?
For the back, can we still skip this?
Yeah, we're only gonna do the even ones for everything. Yeah, so we'll finish the decimal packet, finish the fraction packet, but the odds we never got to, don't worry about it. Don't worry about any of the odds, just do all the evens.
Are you gonna help me with 20?
Yeah,
Wait, how
on
should
the fraction.
Yeah,
So that's dividing, so you'd wanna
multiply.
just multiply straight across, don't flip anything.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Yep.
Anybody else, anything you see that isn't like anything you thought about yet? Anything I can help you with? It's like 10 minutes left, so you can get started and get some progress, ask some questions if you have them, but you might as well shut that down.